The brother's asking a question. He's saying that don't I think, or aren't the Islamic scholars responsible for creating confusion amongst the lay people? Some people will say that machine slaughter is halal, others will say no, it's impermissible, and some people will say one thing is halal, other people will say other things are haram. The answer is no. The Islamic scholars are not responsible for creating confusion amongst the people. Rather, it's the people themselves that are responsible for creating this confusion. How so? Well, the right of a scholar is to opinionate, say what he believes to be the truth from Allah Azza wa Jal. And what a lay person is supposed to be doing is not going to one scholar and then a second and then a third and then a fourth and then a fifth until he gets himself confused, trying to get indulged in a matter that he or she doesn't understand to begin with. When one person says something and he is a qualified or she is a qualified Islamic scholar, he or she is saying it based on knowledge, based on years of experience, based on years of training. Classically, academically, the person is read in the subject. Just wait, let me finish. He or she is well read in the subject. Right? If I go to a doctor, and I go to one doctor, and by the way, I have a live example of this. Somebody had this problem. I go to one doctor, and I say to him that, I have such and such problem. And he realizes, okay, this is the problem. The treatment of such problem is through this course. You have to do this. Now you go to another doctor, there's two ways to get this treatment. The other doctor says, you know what? The treatment is in this way. You do this, then you do this, then you do this. Then you come and then you mix up the two medications. Is it going to work? No. The answer is no. You will get your body into severe confusion and you can get sick. So, the wajib, the obligation of a lay person is that he or she goes to the local imam, the local person that's trusted in the community, and asks. Says, I have such and such problem, what's the answer? And that's it. No more. And that's how you keep yourself out of the confusion, because every single thing that is said based on hundreds of papers of research. Hundreds of pages of research. Centuries of study. Okay? You have a person that graduated from a certain school, he has centuries of scholarship behind him. And he's saying it based on the understanding of that scholarship. And then you have a third, he says the same thing. If you go to Germany, they have a certain methodology of medication. If you go to Russia, they have a certain methodology of medication. If you go ask a Russian doctor, and then you go to Germany, ask a German doctor, and you start taking allopathic, homeopathic, you're going to get yourself mixed up, confused. And I know personally somebody that started using different types of medications, and their body literally had a breakdown. They almost died. Though each one of those medications separately was curing the problem. So they had to go through a cleansing process of cleaning their body out until they could now go to a certain one particular medication and then stick to that. So the wajib, the obligation, like for example, if you have an accountant, he tells me, you know what, sir, your taxes are supposed to be done in such and such manner. And I say to him, you know what, let me just read up on this on my own, I'll try to figure things out. And then you get yourself in a problem with the CRA. Is it your fault? Is it the accountant's fault? It's your fault because it's not your job to be reading that. Yes, you can acquire subjects, you can pursue subjects academically, learn. It's not a problem. Learning is always good, but when it comes to application, go to someone that is trusted within your community, especially if you're confused. If you're not confused, you realize, okay, there's two opinions, and I think, first of all, I always tell this to people, you don't necessarily have the right to think. Because just to be qualified to be able to think in Islamic Sharia, there's a lot of things that you have to have done before that. A lot of us that indulge ourselves in matters of Islamic Sharia, a lot of us that do that, if we were to just say, I was to just say, you know what, tell me all the Islamic sciences that exist, that are the primary Islamic sciences, and I want you to just explain to me the titles of these sciences, not the actual science. Most of us won't even be able to list the Islamic sciences. Right? Similarly, if you go to a doctor that's a specialist in a certain field, he might even be talking to you, and if he talks in medical terms, you're not even going to understand what he's saying. You're not even going to understand what she's saying.